We'll just go over to the next one, and afterwards we're going to try to get some response and maybe a little bit of a discussion. I have to tell something. Liz Gasme, from policy officer from FEANSA, she would be here, but she wasn't able to make it here. So Catherine Buchler is here. She's, well, a colleague of her, and you're going to represent the FEANSA for now. Well, tell us a little bit more what you find interesting recommendations where you maybe can do something with. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for having FEANSA here. My name's Catherine Buchler, and FEANSA, for the ones who don't know, is the European Federation of National Organizations Working with Homeless People. For this reason, actually, we decided to focus on recommendations 4 and 5. Given our policy background, it's like only EU social, housing, and urban policy. Even though all the other recommendations are also relevant, but we decided to focus on the things we work with. First, I want to respond to the recommendations concerning e-inclusion. It says that governments have to take a step backwards to give more space to self-organizations of civilians. I would agree with this, but I would emphasize that governments, European, national, regional, and local, have to take a step backwards to let all relevant stakeholders take part in the policy progress, especially if they have relevant expertise or views to share. But government should still take on a leading role in driving effective and innovative policies. So I think it's a bit what Eva Slezak said just now, like there should be no over-regulating, but government should provide, and the EU should provide a framework and necessary means to work with. Then it also said like that digital local communities should be realized, and I would not necessarily specify local, as national and European networks can also foster inclusion and motivation to empower local communities. For example, there is HOPE, a network of organization of homeless people in Europe, which was launched last month in Luxembourg at FEANSA's annual conference. And very much thanks to Web 2.0 tools like Facebook and LinkedIn. Homeless people want to express their voice at EU level, and not only through FEANSA. Linking up with EU networks like FEANSA and Habitat, that's the European network of cities working on homelessness, enables them to get access to expertise from other countries, which can empower them to enact change in their local communities. In addition to this fourth conclusion, I want to also respond to conclusion number 5 on homelessness. It said that creating the premises at EU level for a common integrated model of resources and programs for homeless people would be important. I would like to show a little YouTube video to explain a bit the EU context we are currently working in on homelessness.
An Athens-based NGO has described a new type of homeless person thanks to Greece's debt crisis. They're not immigrants, drug addicts or the mentally ill, the traditional causes of homelessness. They're more likely to be middle-aged Greeks who have lost their jobs or businesses and therefore their homes. On Wednesday, the European Parliament passed a resolution calling for the development of a pan-European strategy to combat homelessness. With austerity measures and many countries facing severe housing shortages, MEPs say drastic measures must be taken. We must encourage more social housing. We must have homes for these groups of people because, as we all know, there's been skyrocketing property prices and the quality of the current housing stock is deteriorating. That's something you find everywhere. Italy, Spain and the UK are also reporting growing numbers of homeless people. But Freek Spinnewijn from the European body that assists national homeless housing groups is quite optimistic.
I think there is no reason to be fatalistic. I mean, in the last few decades, we have gathered quite a lot of knowledge about the intervention strategies that work. And there is countries, in spite of the difficult context, that move towards ending and solving homelessness. I mentioned in the press conference a country like Finland, for instance, which is pretty close to actually ending homelessness.
So, as you have seen in the video, only a month ago, the European Parliament adopted a resolution on an EU homeless strategy. It is a clear call on the European Commission to make ending homelessness a central goal and develop a European framework for the fight against homelessness. And this is very much in line with the People recommendation. It also says that adapting, in the recommendations, it also says that adapting all services to the real needs of the citizens was important. For me, this translates as ensuring the services of adequate quality. This year, FEANZA had the quality of homeless services as an annual theme. And one of the many recommendations was to develop training modules in universities for social workers working with homeless people. Homelessness is a fast-changing phenomenon, hence requiring regional trainings for social workers to adapt to emerging new populations as a means of finding appropriate responses. Some countries are now talking about ending homelessness, especially Scandinavian countries, a political objective which must be followed up on the ground and especially in social services. In the fifth recommendations on homelessness, it also says something about networks. It says facilitating the creation of local and regional networks to design integrated policies was important. FEANZA totally supports this recommendation. Being a European network, people striving to make a difference for homeless people. We have benefited greatly over the years from pooling expertise through European exchange, a governance level with no hard legal competence on homelessness, hence local networks at a level where lives are changed, and networking strikes me as crucial. It also says that it was important to create wider European networks. FEANZA is willing to support such network building through European exchange. We are supporting the development of different European networks, formal and informal ones, with a wide range of stakeholders. For example, we are working with cities in the framework of Habitat. You can go on the website www.habitat.eu for more information. We're also working with housing practitioners, with health workers and employment organizations, and also with researchers. These are open communities of learning where you can get or share ideas, so check our website for more information or feel free to contact my colleague Liz Gom with any questions. Also, there's some other key areas of interest related to homelessness. For example, housing. FEANZA thinks that shelters are to be only a temporary solution and not a permanent solution. It is crucial to find other ways to deal with homelessness, such as, for example, housing first. Then migration is also more and more of interest. This will be FEANZA's annual theme in 2012. And it's also important to clarify that EU legislation concerns the migration of homeless people who then end up homeless and fall through the security net in other countries. Another key area of interest would be the structural funds, ESF and ERDF. They are key resources which will be opened up to support the realization of EU's political targets in poverty. So I invite you to get involved in FEANZA's work and in Habitat's work if you work in a local authority, or if you want to meet peers who are trying to find effective and innovative ways of solving homelessness in their geographical area. Hopefully, this time next year there will be a clear EU framework on homelessness. Why not an EU strategy or an EU action plan in response to the European Parliament resolution? FEANZA is currently working very closely with European Commission's DG Employment to bring this forward. And so we can all work together in a more structured way in future. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Katrin Buchler, for stepping up and sitting here. Well, you only heard this tomorrow, and this morning I heard that you had to be here, so that was very, very good. Well prepared. Thank you so much.